This little sketchbook really changed the way that I draw because I was drawing from life and it was very different for me, but I have to be honest that it definitely didn't play out in a very straight line. So I started this sketchbook in March and I filmed most of it, about 90% in April. So I was always planning on filming a video like this, but I totally fell off the wagon and then it took me another 2 months to finish it, which is why you're only seeing this video now. So this sketchbook actually was a follow-on from this one, which is my Japan sketchbook that I made myself and took with me whilst we went to Japan in March. And I also did a Pages from Life theme on Patreon, and it was really, really fun to not worry about it being perfect and to not have references and to just draw what was there in the moment. So this was the catalyst for this one. I do have a lot of sketchbooks, so let me just introduce myself if you've not been here before. Hello, my name is Katie. I am a full-time sketchbook artist, but like I say, I don't often work this size and I don't often draw from life. I mostly work from references, and that's absolutely great, and I still do that now, but trying to challenge myself, especially with this sketchbook, was very, very rewarding. So like I said, we had a Pages from Life theme during March, so I did start this in March, and I'm going to flip through this sketchbook and talk about my evolution and how this really changed how I approach drawing. A little bit about this sketchbook as well. This is a Hahnemuhle Nostalgie sketchbook. It is A6. This was very kindly sent to me by one of my patrons, Tara. This is one of her favourite sketchbooks, so thank you, Tara, for letting me try this out. And yeah, it's a really good size. So this was the catalyst where my car broke down, ironically during Pages from Life month and before I went on holiday. And when I was stood on the side of the road, I really thought, gosh, I wish I had something to draw, because I had a wait until the breakdown man came and rescued me. So that was turning point for me, especially as it was Pages from Life month and I was stood there with nothing to do. And I was like, I'm going to start keeping a sketchbook in my handbag. So I did, and that's why this A6 size works so well. And I just took, a Tombow or one pen or a pencil with me. Sometimes these were drawn plein air and sometimes they were drawn at home, but it had to be from life. So I gave myself that sort of challenge. It was a personal challenge to work from life, no references, so completely different to how I normally work. So at the beginning in March, and then obviously going to Japan, here's some of my lunch. So this one was just an ink pen and one Tombow. This one was watercolour and I didn't finish it off, but it's fine. I do like the collage packaging here. This one again, 2 materials. So we've got a Pentel ink pen and my Sailor Fude de Manin. They're very basic, they're not super detailed, and I didn't want that because I wanted it to feel very manageable. If I was working consistently and drawing from life, obviously this was actually drawing from life from a live stream. I don't know if that counts, but this was watching a deer live stream from Brownville's food pantry for deer. It's not running at the minute because it is seasonal, but very fun to do and kind of from life, even if it was through a screen. And then some breakfast. So this is end of March now, and I was really sort of getting into the challenge. And then we come to April. So April was plein air April. So that was a challenge and a theme that I followed along with my patrons. So we did a dual theme of plein air April and the New Forest. And this was where my daily challenge really started and where the sort of transformation really happened, where I really got into the swing of it. And I do find that the accountability of doing a daily challenge really helps. And I did fall off. So after April, if I get to the very end of April, which is this one, all of these were filled within a month. And then these last few pages I filled by mid-July. So you can really see how I just stopped. Life got in the way and I fell off the wagon. But I am back to drawing from life. Now we're in August, so I will talk a little bit about this new sketchbook at the end of the video. So it definitely changed things enough that, later on, I'm back here again. So I do want to just flip through quickly some of these pages. It didn't start very well on the first day because I did it at 10 to 10 at night. So usually I try and do this in the day to, tick it off my list and have a little bit more time, but I definitely didn't for this one. But again, just 2 materials here. So a Sailor Fude de Manin ink pen line and a grey Tombow. This was editing late at night, so you'll see my work-life balance is not brilliant. This one, much more my vibe, very colourful. This was with Kuretake Gansai Tambi paints. And also that Sailor Fude Demanin again, so I do use waterproof ink within it. It is the De Atramentus document ink. I do get asked that quite a lot. This was at 10 to 7, so still in the evening, but I wanted to make the most of the colours in the garden because my tulips were blooming and I just really wanted to capture this colour combo. So this was, just working daily, trying not to get too overwhelmed by the thought of it. This was on a walk on Good Friday, so Mitch was off, so we went for a walk. I prepped the page beforehand with some acrylic gouache so you can see all of the mark making in the background there, and then I went out with my coloured pencils and filled this in, and I think a couple of Neocolors too, so not my favourite but still very, very quick. I did find that I didn't spend very long on any of these pages, and I think that's really key for me to be able to draw daily. This one was a bit different for me, so I spent the whole day baking because we had an Easter celebration with my family the day after this. So I just drew some of my bakes. I made some hot cross buns, some brownies, some Rocky Road and some mini egg cookies. I did keep this really simple because again I didn't have much time, so I drew this in the evening after baking them all, and I just didn't come in with colour, which is very rare for me, but still fun, and I do like drawing packaging, so I liked the mini egg packet there. This was actually on Easter Sunday in Mum and Dad's garden, so I used acrylic markers, took those with me, and I like the looseness of this. Like I said, I did want to keep things nice and quick. I didn't want to get too bogged down in details. So I can feel my confidence growing already by the 5th of not being super accurate, and I just zoomed in on a really, really small part of their garden just to draw this. And the colours weren't accurate because I just threw a few acrylic markers in my bag, but it still works, and I think that was definitely a lesson from working from life of using what you do have that you took with you. This was in the New Forest, so like I said, it was a sort of dual theme on my Patreon of the New Forest and plein air, so I could really showcase my part of the world. And I did this and another one in my Venezia sketchbook. I do have a tour of that sketchbook here on my channel. And yeah, just playing around again. So this was actually watercolour straight from the tube and applied again with the Sennelier ink pen and a bit more colour, just to try and show some of the heather that I could see. Really like this one. It's quite loose, but I feel like I can see some of the influence from the Newlyn School of Art course that I'm taking as well, which I'd started watching a few of the videos around this time, so I feel like that's coming through here. This one we just went to a nearby common, and again, really trying to push myself. The weather was very nice, so that was lucky. It was quite cold, but it did really allow for me to go outside and really make the most of it. So when the weather did let me, I definitely tried to do that. And this was actually drawn from the car, but still with the view in front of us. So just kind of making it work for us. I think that's really important with any art challenge, and making it work within the parameters of your life. So even if that is drawing from the car or drawing in those 5-10 minutes that you've got spare, I think it's really important. This one again, I've gone back to the Pentel ink brush pen and the Sailor Fude Demanin. I walk this nature reserve quite a lot, and I've never drawn it with this view. I thought it was really fun to label things up, so I really like that. And again, just trying to change things up, to draw from life but make it really fun. And I feel like that's something I learned from this sketchbook, because I am so used to having flat references and things not moving. And there's definitely a page here where I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I definitely felt a lot of joy working in this way. 9th of April, so I had a lovely Easter bouquet from Mitch, so I painted that again with my Kuretake Gansai Tambi paints and some coloured pencil details on top. I do really like this. I really like painting florals and getting all of that colour in there. Okay, another late one at 9:10 in the evening. This is very, very different for me. You will rarely find me drawing people. I didn't know what to draw, so we have some mirrors at the end of our bed from our built-in wardrobes, so I just drew me and Mitch just chilling here, me drawing this sketch and Mitch on his Steam Deck. So yeah, just fun, just one material here, which again, very, very rare for me, but obviously, although I can take a pouch of supplies up to bed with me, I just took the one ultramarine luminance pencil and drew this. It was fun, I did like this. I do think I should push myself a little bit more with people. Okay, this is the one I referenced, where there were some new lambs in a field that we went to after a lunch out, And yeah, it was really hard because obviously they move. I'm so used to drawing from reference photos where it is a very still image. So this was very different for me, and I do have some questionable sheep here, but I do like this one, which is lucky because he's right in the foreground. And yeah, just drawing from life, it was very cold. I remember, it not being the most comfortable setup, but I drew from life. I stuck to my challenge, and that felt really good. It's very rewarding doing stuff like this and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. This was actually when I remember it poured with rain. We did this lovely walk around Winchester. I took my acrylic markers with me. I tried to show some of the rain here, which I really like. I feel like I usually am a fair weather plein air artist, so I wouldn't necessarily go out with the intention of drawing if I know the weather's going to be bad. So this was very fun to do. And I feel like you can see some of that texture. Actually, it did rain on me and I had to try and shelter under a tree, but some of these textures here are from the raindrops, and I like that. It adds extra texture that you wouldn't necessarily know was from the rain, but I really like it. You can see I was working fast because there is a lot of movement here, and it's definitely more abstract. There's not much depth in it, but it doesn't matter because I can remember that day, and I love that this was from life. Some watercolour here, so using my little watercolour set of drawing just an afternoon snack, again drawing from life and just drawing what was in front of me with the peel. I really like these colours here. I think I also used some Faber-Castell gelatos on top and some luminance pencils as well. This one is definitely inspired by one of the lessons in the Newlyn School of Art landscape course which I'm taking. I will leave a link to a video here where I talk a little bit more in depth about that course now I'm fully in, because I was just sort of dipping my toes at this point. And this is with acrylic ink and some unison pastel. So I have sealed this one, so it's got a little bit of a sheen to it because of the pastel I put on, so it won't smudge. Usually I don't bother in my sketchbook, but when I do use pastel like this, I definitely need to. So again, plein air April, I think I've got... Oh, I did 2 on this day. So I did 2 for day 13, unless I've just... No, I did do. Okay, cool. So we went out in the afternoon and I did this one, and another 2 actually, in 2 different sketchbooks. So I'm really getting into drawing things multiple times. And this was inspired by the lesson by Sam Borton. Again, just one material, so this was a rainy day, so no plein air drawing, but at 9 PM just drawing the things on my bedside table. Just a few different things, stuff that I wouldn't normally draw. So again, it really was pushing me to not just rely on pretty references and actually draw things from life, which definitely means they're more personal, they've got more memories to them, and it just feels very me, especially like this little cat ring dish and stuff like that. This one I didn't finish. This is with watercolour, and clearly I didn't come on top with pencil, so this is literally just the paint layer. Usually I always finish things off because it's usually the details layer that changes things, but I just lost my interest here, so it is what it is. Not my favourite page, but accurate that sometimes drawing from life is just 10 minutes here to put down your base layer and then you don't come back to it. This one, April 16th, 10-minute sketch, again, keeping things really quick. This is with Ecoline brush pens and some Tombow brush pens and some coloured pencils on top. I remember really disliking this at the time and then adding on the pencil layer and it just transforming, and I really like this one now. So like I said, usually I do push through the messy base layer to finish it off, but I like this one. It feels very fresh and very spring-like. This one was one of the pages I shared during the month that got the most love over on Instagram. The colours are blowing out a little bit, so I'll try and colour correct. But this is just an acrylic gouache base with 2 other supplies on top. So this is actually a 3 material piece. This is with a dark indigo pencil, and this one actually, the Peach Blossom Neocolor 2. This is a special edition, but really like that colour combo of the dark and then the light. Just outside my bedroom window. It's not very exciting, but I do love doing night scenes. Definitely one of the subjects I don't do often, but always love. This was when we stumbled upon a bluebell wood, so again, just walking around our local area. This is in Romsey, and I wasn't expecting to find a bluebell wood. Luckily, I did have my sky blue Neocolor, so I used that to suggest it. Lots of Tombow here, so this is all dry media with brush pens and coloured pencils and Neocolors on top. And I did take a Derwent water brush pen, which was really helpful just to smudge it out a little bit. Just very fun. Like I said, I wouldn't normally take my stuff with me when I go for a walk. Usually if I'm going plein air painting or drawing, I will know I'm doing that. Whereas because I just had things in my bag and I was doing this challenge, I did throw some supplies in with me. Normally if Mitch and I go for a walk, I don't take my sketchbook unless we're going out specifically for me to plein air draw, if that makes sense. So it was really nice to document my month in this way. I really like this one. This was just a weed, so I love forget-me-nots, but obviously they are technically a weed. And this one was coming up on the side of our patio. I remember just sitting on the patio, just right on the ground, and painting this with gouache. And really, really quick actually, using my brush strokes to create some of these lovely leaves. Feels very simple but fresh, and I really like this one. Okay, so mostly here I've done double page spreads, but here I was really not feeling it this day. I was really struggling, so I kept things very basic. Just one pencil, 7:16 p.m, drawing the drooping tulips that started out like this. So very, very quick. This literally took me 2 minutes. And then this one, which is much more abstract. This one is the 21st of April, smushing some colour on the page. This is with a dough and Inktense and a little bit of watercolour, I think. Again, very simple, so you don't have to spend very long to draw from life. And this was just a plant in my garden. So this is another view from the window. I don't love this one. I don't think I shared this anywhere. Some of these pages were just for me that I didn't, photograph or put on Instagram. This was definitely one of them. So this is watercolour and some pencil on top. It's okay, it didn't quite capture the magic of the sunset that I wanted. Obviously, it was changing as I was painting, but I didn't quite capture that. Again, back on the common, so April 23rd, 6 p.m. Keeping things really bright and still simple. So this is actually all watercolour. There's a touch of Neocolor on top, but very little. Oh, a little bit of pink. So an orangish yellow Neocolor, a pink, and the Chinese green. So very simple. Again, because I'm keeping it really quick, so you can see that movement and energy within my pages. Okay, Friday 24th, I really hurt my back. So this was drawn lying in bed with one tombow and my Sailor Fude de Manin, just off a plant we've got on the side in my bedroom. And then the 25th, I really, really was struggling with my back, so I just drew this, and this is just typography. I just didn't want to miss a day. It's okay if you miss a day, that's totally fine. I don't think we should hold ourselves to do really difficult things if we have hurt ourselves or life, really happens. We can just jump back on it, but I just did a typography page here. This one, I wanted to see what would happen just filling the spread. So this is with green gouache, the Pentel green brush pen on top, and then white gouache on top, just to try and capture the vinca that was flowering in my garden again. Again, just sat on the grass and drew what was in front of me. Here we go, so this will be the next day. Again, I didn't finish it, and it's okay to have unfinished pages within drawing challenges. I think it's very, very normal. But I really like this one, so again, I was really inspired by the colours in my garden. Obviously it was springtime, so things were flowering, and I really wanted to capture that. So this is watercolour and coloured pencils on top, with the lovely colours of the Irisumum in the garden. Again, 7:37, so although I said I like to do things early, I ended up most of the time getting distracted by work and then doing these in the evening. So here's another one from 7 p.m. Now this was when I had a really, really bad day. I was really not feeling it. I didn't want to go out, but I thought I'll go out and get some fresh air and do some painting. And then I finished it off from memory afterwards when I got back. So I did the base and I was in a terrible mood. And then this really helped to, calm me down a little bit. But I didn't love this at the time, but it's all right. I don't know why I was so mean to myself, but I think we can all relate to that. Sometimes we're just so harsh on ourselves with the art when it doesn't match the things in our head. And then this one, again, I don't think I shared this, again, trying to capture the sunset and the beautiful skies. I think I did a better job here with the colours, but I don't know, it's all right. Just not my favourite, and that was the end of April. So definitely some very loose work within April, which I really enjoyed doing. It was very fun working from life, and it's very different from working from references. And after that challenge, I just fell off. So this is now May, and this was towards the end of May. And yeah, I just stopped the challenge, life got in the way, and that was that. I was still working in other sketchbooks. I just wasn't really drawing from life anymore because we'd moved on to other subjects on Patreon, and I was very good for that full month, and then I just didn't make time for it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I find, is being accountable and making time for things. So it did mean that these last 4-5 spreads took me May, June, July, 3 months, and all of this took 1. So it is what it is. I think that's totally valid as artists, that we, change things up and we still learn from them. So this was also, I was keeping it drawing from life. So this whole book was drawing from life. And this was again drawn and painted with another one from my plein air video, which I'll leave a link up here in the cards for, using watercolour and, no, this is gouache I think, and some coloured pencil and brush pens. Some sweet peas, so the sweet peas had bloomed in my garden, so I cut those and painted this from life. Very, very simple. Again, still keeping things pretty quick. As you can see, another unfinished page here, and then just a fern again from the garden. So really taking inspiration from the things around me and my garden, and it's just nice to document those things, because often I'll work from my own photos, but sometimes I'll work from other people's, and it just feels like there's more of a connection when I draw from my own stuff. This was drawn from my birthday barbecue in July, so yeah, 11th of July here. It was a heat wave, so I just drew some of my family who were having a lot of fun in the paddling pool. And then this one, which is, again, the tomatoes in my garden that were finally ripening. So this was mid to end of July, maybe mid-July if this was the 11th. Again, using watercolour, keeping things really simple and outlining with a Sailor Fude de Manin black ink line. And I also swatched some greens at some point, but that's it. So that is the full sketchbook of my drawing from life experiments. I really enjoyed working from life, so much so that I have brought it back for a different challenge. So I'm currently working through this one. I am filming this on the 20th of August, so you'll be seeing this in a couple of days, and by September I'll have finished my daily drawing challenge during August, so I'll be able to do a flip through. And this is a little bit different because this is drawing from life still, but using just 3 materials. So I started the 3 material challenge, which was very fun. And actually, looking back through this one, I realised I was doing it in some places here and sometimes just using 2, which I'd totally forgotten about. And I've been having so much fun with colour and playing with different colour palettes, learning more about tone and just having, a lot more fun. So I'm really excited to, you can see an influence there from the other one. I'm excited to continue this and share this with you in September. So yeah, definitely a bit of a journey for all of these sketchbooks. So the one I'm working in now, the one that really ignited my passion for it, and the one that began it all from my travels to Japan. So really fun to see that sort of process. And although it wasn't a very clear shift of it changing the way that I work, it's definitely been a huge, huge influence. Like I said, I am enjoying working from life, and it's a shame that life got in the way, but it doesn't mean we can't go full circle and come back to things. I think that's very natural as an artist, and so I'm really happy to be able to finally share this video with you all. So yes, it certainly didn't change everything in a straight line, but it definitely changed enough that 4 months later I'm right back here and drawing from life again on purpose. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Hopefully it's given you some inspiration. Maybe you work from references all the time and feel inspired to draw from life and have that personal connection in your sketchbook, so I hope you give it a go. A huge thank you to my patrons as well. Obviously a lot of my work is influenced by our themes there, and they're a really supportive community, and without them I wouldn't be able to make these free YouTube videos, so shout out to them and thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you next Sunday in my new YouTube video. See you later!